Nixie, thanks for joining us for another SANFL report for round 19 of the local competition. We saw a couple of players play probably their last game of the year this year before they go in for operations. What's the thinking behind that?
Two different circumstances. One, Marlon Motlop unfortunately broke his finger in his game on Friday night. So he'll go straight in and have that fixed up. He's actually had that done yesterday. And that'll ensure that he's right as soon as possible to get back into footy. There's no point prolonging that, as he won't be able to play. The other one's Andrew Moore. So Moore is going to go in and have an operation on his groins, have that really cleaned up, with a view of getting him back to football as soon as we can for next season. There are a few games still to go this season, but the longer we leave that, the longer he misses of pre-season. And nowadays, it's vitally important that every player gets a pre-season on their belt, so we're keen for him to start as soon as he can.
One player who did have a pre-season and has gone on to have quite a very good season in the SANFL is Daniel Stewart. Another 8 goals on the weekend.
Yeah, Stewart, he's been a bit back and forth from the AFL side back into the SANFL, and it's pretty tough when you're doing that. But he's played some really good football back for North Adelaide. Kicked 8 on the weekend, and was really the difference in the game. His presence up forward and his size, Port struggled to match up on him. So, that was a credit to him to kick 8 goals, and I think he'd be first to admit he's still got better in him. He was slow to start the game, but it was a good result for him. We also had Ebo playing in the same game, and Ebo had a number of opportunities. I think he kicked 2 goals 6 in the end, which for him is very disappointing. And he'd back himself in as a set shot for goal, and he missed 3 or 4 ones that we'd probably normally expect him to kick. But he was getting around the ground and moving well.
With Stewie's game in particular, what sort of role does he play at North Adelaide as opposed to what he plays for the Power? Yeah,
there's probably a different expectation when he's at North. He's playing more of a permanent forward. I guess the difference in the games now with the interchange rule and the sub rule in the AFL, he's required to play more ruck when he comes up and plays in the AFL side. The difference there is you can't actually play a ruckman through the bench. So, Stewie's has got that advantage. And I guess the sooner he improves his ruck work and becomes a real strength in the ruck, then the better. He'll be a real consistent player going forward.
Will that be a development focus for him throughout the pre-season leading into 2012?
Very much so, yeah. We'll be... if he's watching, we'll be giving him a fair workout in the ruck and hitting him with a bag. And, it's not an easy position. And every week you go up against the likes of, Cox and Sandlanders, these players. They're all very good footballers, very experienced. And Stewie's, only just starting out. So he's got a lot to learn, but he's learning every week.
We've got other young ruckmen who are learning that dual role as well, from Webby to Bass to Redden. What sort of development are we looking for them towards the tail end of the year while they've had that bulk of the season behind them?
Yeah, look, most of them have really improved out of sight. I mean, for Reddo, it's a real engine issue. We've got to get him to be able to run a full game out. And as I said, you can't have spells on the bench as much as a ruckman in the AFL nowadays. You've got to be able to push forward. And he's been learning that side of his game and has been taking marks up in the forward 50. Bass playing down at South Adelaide, he's come on in leaps and bounds. Ex-basketballer who's just now learning the game of AFL, but he's an exciting one. He's one to keep an eye on. We've also got Lobe, who's up there at the moment running around, and Webb for West Adelaide, Webb's probably the last guy we thought would be running around in the ruck, but he's performing really well at SANFL level in that position. And that's what's keeping him a game at the moment at West Adelaide is more his ruck work than his forward play. He's renowned as a sort of deep forward marking player. So they're all getting together, they're all working really hard, and that's a real positive going forward for the group, as those young guys are in it together and trying to learn and get better.
Nixie, thanks for your time.
Pleasure.
Goes back inboard. I've got some runners coming to him. He's looking out there for Stewart. What do you know? On the lead. One of the easiest marks he'll take all day. Lining up for goal number 8. We know it.